Hello, everybody. Welcome to TopFCTV. We are live with a match day reaction. Let's shut this music off. I got Unbiased Sport. I'm going to get Hamza in a minute. I get Kevin, of course, to get his takes on Manchester United, who bottled their performance. It was going to be great, 3-0, and absolutely disgraceful. Well, maybe not as disgraceful as the call yesterday against Newcastle United. We're going to talk a little bit about that at the end. Of course, Manchester City sort of kind of cruising, maybe not. You know, they were down 2-0 and then they came back up, kind of toying around with their rivals. We're going to talk about that. We're going to have Hamza give his opinion on Manchester City. But we got to start with Arsenal, man. The Goons today, they are cruising. They are just cruising in the Champions. Look at that. Look at Giuseppe. Man, he is a one happy customer right now. Again, Hamza is late. He's gonna come. He's cooking it up in spaces, and he's gonna be, of course, he's gonna be late, but he's coming. Kevin is also coming to represent Manchester United, as I said. But please like and subscribe. Like this stream. Let's get to 50 likes, 100 likes. Come on, give it a like. After this, I'm gonna redirect to Mo's channel where Giuseppe is gonna be over there cooking as well. It's a day for Arsenal fans. You got to give it to them. You know, they're gonna be all over the place today. So, yeah, please like the video, subscribe, and let's get started, brother. What are your thoughts on this Arsenal performance today? For 6-0. I mean, I put the infinite sign on the thumbnail because I was like, they're just gonna cook all the way through. You know what I mean? You're muted. You're muted. Hold on. There we go.
Oh yeah. Listen, at the end of first things first, I'm so happy, bro, because you know what? It's been so long since we've been in the Champions League, and when growing up supporting Arsenal, Champions League was just the standard for us. It was like the bare minimum, you know. So every year, Champions League under Wenger, you know. So to be out of the Champions League for so long, it's been painful, man. It's been so painful watching them nights, them Tuesday nights, Wednesday nights, and not being in it. And now to be in it, and not only to be in it, man, we're cooking in it. Like, let's be honest. We've had 1-0 against Lens. That was away, their first ever home game. So there's thing. But I said on my preview to this game, Arsenal, I want to see these players and the team take that loss personal. You know, take that loss in the Champions League group. It doesn't matter that we're going to top the group. That doesn't matter. You've lost. Take it personal. Don't only go out there and beat these guys. Go out there and humble them. Go out there and smoke them. Yeah, it's like we'll win PSV. We got PSV next week. It's like we'll win Holland this week with the loud pack. That's how much smoke there was. Yeah, I'm going to be honest. Listen. What more can you ask for your team to basically win the game within 11 minutes? Because that's what happened. We won the game within 11 minutes of the game. You know, within 11 minutes, not 11 minutes from the start, but within an 11-minute period, 3 goals, 3 beautiful goals. We just knocked the stuffing out of them from early, and that's what I've wanted to see Arsenal do for a long time. A lot of the time this season we haven't been doing, which we were doing last season. This is Kai Havertz. I shouted for him to start. I am a firm believer that if someone has a very good moment off the bench or something like that, or wins you a game, they deserve a start next game. I'm a firm believer in that. It keeps confidence. It keeps fairness. It shows other players that if you do something, you will get in the team. And listen, he repaid it by a goal. The first opening goal started us going, you know, and the fact of the matter is that's a Havertz goal, in it, that sort of in that space, he finds that space and he just taps it in. So that was lovely. And then the team was just cooking all over the pitch.
But let me ask you this. First of all, are you happy with this lineup? Is this a possible lineup for? I mean, because what is what to you? What's the difference between now, this Arsenal team, which is actually in my, I believe in our, I don't know if it was our fan reaction over the weekend. Man, no, it was actually before that where I said they're cooking in the Champions League. So what is the difference between Arsenal in the Champions League and in the Premier League, or is it the same? You
I
know, are
think
people
I think
just
I
yeah,
think we're playing good football in both. Really, we're not playing maybe getting the goals in the league, but I think the Champions League, the style of the Champions League, suits us more. They're not. You don't really get low blocks. You're not really getting these teams just sitting back against you, trying to nick a draw or trying to see if they can catch you on the counter. It's quite open, and you've seen that with our wingers. The way Saka and Martinelli can get involved so much more in these Champions League games, and you're seeing it. I think that's why when people laugh at certain Arsenal fans that say we can win the Champions League this year, you can laugh all you want, but if we can beat Man City in the league, we can beat anyone in the Champions League. Then that's the end of that. Is it in a nutshell for me? So
right.
I'm not saying we're going to win the Champions League. I don't think we've got enough experience because if you get to the semis or the quarters of the semis, and you get a Real Madrid, that experience of them being in the Champions League, I think will overcome us. But never say never. The way the Champions League is, I think that's the difference. The style of the Champions League suits our team more right now, whereas in the league, I think that's where we're missing more of that striker, that out and out striker. But I think
Yeah.
in the Champions League, the way teams set up against you, foreign teams, and that, I think the team, we have enough to get goals from anywhere. You see today, 6-0, 6 different goal scorers. It's
Yeah, no, it's
crazy.
crazy. It's crazy. But you also, there is a turning point with Kai Havertz in the past few weeks. And do you think is he now I mean, is he looking to start every game? Is he the difference maker? Are we seeing something different now? Is he taking the
Listen,
team, is he taking in that role of I got to be the player?
listen, I'm gonna say it like I've said it like this. I give everyone a year at the football club, regardless of who you are. I'm not one of these that will
Exactly.
have an agenda just because I don't like you, just because I didn't agree with the signing, which I didn't. Don't mean that when you come, I'm not going to give you a chance. Like I wasn't getting onto him at the start of the season because I've seen Chelsea over the past two seasons. I've seen the way Chelsea fans got onto him over the past few seasons, even when he
Yeah.
wasn't their worst player. And I think you've had a guy come over that's not been loved at the club he's at. He's got no confidence whatsoever. So it's going to take a little bit of time. It's a brand new team. People forget because there's so many of these players like a Declan Rice that can just come into a team and hit the ground running and be instantly to their level. You forget that it doesn't work like that with all players. Some players need a bit of time to gel into the team, to make friends. And I think now you're seeing that with Arsenal. The team itself is starting to gel. I think Kai Havertz is starting to get confidence. Listen, he starts next game for me again in the 8 because at the
Yeah.
end of the day, he scored in the last 2 games he's played, and
He's earned it. I mean,
he's
you
earned
got
it.
to
At
give
the
it to
end
him.
of the day, what he and not only that, he played good today, and he played good when he come on against Brentford. It weren't just like a goal, and he's been terrible, but he's got a goal. It's been good performances, and I think you've got to be real with what you're watching, and that's how I am. I'll judge what I'm watching. So
Right.
people will just say, "Oh, he'll go back to being crap," but I don't like them thoughts because that's just you don't know. That's
Exactly.
just assumptions. The same way it's an assumption to say he's going to be good for the rest of the season. You can't make that assumption. You can't make the assumption he's going to be bad the rest of the season. You just got to go with what's currently in front of you. And for
And
me, currently, he's looking all right.
and what about Gabriel Jesus? What are you looking at? Is he going to be your striker? Even though I didn't like how he went after, in the Brazilian after a Brazilian match, he said, "Go scoring goals is not my strongest suit." I didn't like that. I don't think he should have said that. But regardless, there's always been consideration. And Ketia came on, so like who's going to be your striker? I think that if you are Teta, you have to give some of these players their starting position already established. You can't just be switching them all the time because the player doesn't. I mean, they don't get into it. I mean, it's like switching Saliba and Gabriel. You can't do that. You know what I'm saying? He
Yeah.
hasn't done. I'm saying you have to give the striker time in games.
Yeah. For me, I think listen, I don't really take them comments too much from Jesus. Like, the thing is, at the end of the day, like, yes, maybe you shouldn't have said it, but I think it's just been word muddled. Like the words didn't come out properly. These are humans. These are young guys as well. He's not like a 40-year-old experience. Like, people forget that footballers aren't actors. They ain't pop stars. They're not used to being in front of the camera speaking and stuff. Like, that's not what they do. They play on the pitch.
Right.
Sometimes I think like they get caught out in these interviews. All I think he was trying to say was, listen, he knows that the striking the ball ain't his strongest suit, but what he does as a whole, as a striker, makes a great striker. And I think that's it. Listen, the one thing I don't like with Arsenal fans and rival fans is the stick that Jesus seems to get about not scoring. I never see that sort of stick given to a Roberto Firmino. He didn't used to score loads of goals, but he was a quality player up there. He provided attacks, he provided assists, he provided some goals. But I just feel like, because it's Arsenal, people love to put their 2 pence in. I think that's what it is. I'm not too fussed about that. I think Jesus is a great player. I think him on the starting 11's an improvement all the time. You see it when he's there. He's just a nuisance. The goal he scored today was beautiful. Like, the way he just sat that player down, the calmness he has in the box.
Right.
It does. I do wonder sometimes why he doesn't score more goals, because when he does get that in the box, he's so calm. But listen, in the Champions League, his goal scoring record's phenomenal, though.
Yeah. No, I mean, but to me, it's crazy how I feel like the Champions League is always going to be more difficult, in my opinion. Well, in certain instances, but obviously Manchester City had a really, really easy group. So in that sense, it's not. But at the end of the day, well, now it's going to become harder, right? It's round of 16, quarterfinal, semifinal. So we'll see how Arsenal performs. But I got to tell you, man, I do agree with the fact that you can't, basically, in this platform that we're on, you can't really. I said the other day, I think Arsenal is going to win the Premier League, and all of a sudden, people came at me like piranhas, and I feel like at this point, it only happens when it comes to Arsenal. I don't know why. I don't know why people hate Arteta so much. I don't know why people hate Arsenal so much. For somebody to even say that they think they're going to do well this season, then all of a sudden you don't know football. It's crazy to me.
Do you know what I think that is? I'm not gonna lie. I've been saying it for a while now. I was saying it last season. I think I take it as respect. I take it as a compliment, because what I take it as is teams don't like Arsenal, right? They don't like the fan base. They don't like Arsenal as a club. It goes back years that Arsenal have been one of the most hated clubs in England by rivals. So I think all of that, and now they're seeing us actually. They're sitting there, all them people that say that, sitting there going, fucking hell, Arsenal look good. Oh, Arsenal looking decent, man. Arsenal could actually win the league. Like, deep down, they know that. So they're sort of like lashing out at other people saying it because they don't want it to be true. They almost so don't want it to be true that they're trying to convince themselves and everyone that Arsenal ain't as good as they are. I see even a video popped up on my feed the other day, and it was going back to a few Manchester United guys that were rating what they thought the Premier League table was going to be at the end of this season, before the season started. Some of them had Arsenal 7th, a couple of them had them 6th, and then one of them had them 4th. And I'm just like, that is just the Arsenal. You don't like Arsenal and you don't want them to do good, because there's nothing to say that we would fall like that. And right. I think people are annoyed again that we're up there, because everyone said it the same way last season. At the end of the season, when Arsenal bottled the league, and that everyone said the same thing. Come 10, 11 games next season, you're not going to be top of the Premier League again. This was your chance. Come 10, 11, 12 games in the Premier League this season, 13 games now, we're top of the Premier League again. And we haven't been playing that great. So listen, at the end of the day, and in the Champions League, I always knew we'd get at the group. As soon as I see the group, I knew we'd get at the group. I'm happy with how comfortably we got at the group. We had, because you know what, like having that loss in the middle, it annoyed me that we have the loss. I'd like to go through with a clean sweep, but I don't mind losing that game, because it showed us that we lost that game and we didn't let it phase us. We went on to the next 3 games after losing that, and we won them all. 2 against Sevilla and 1 against Lens. Yeah. And then we got our final game, which we can now rest players. I don't think we'll overly rest players, because I think Arteta ain't that sort of manager. I think we will still go heavy and we'll still go to win the game. And I think we should. I think we should be going into the knockout stage on the back of a win,
Right.
not going into the knockout stage on the back of a loss. But it will be a hard game because PSV obviously want to go through, and they've got a chance if they get anything out of the game. Basically, they go through. But yeah, man, listen, everyone hates on Arsenal. I just love it because for me, it's a sign of respect. You know, even when Man City fans, a lot of them really cussing Arsenal and they don't want to admit it. It's because they know currently Arsenal are their rivals. They don't want to admit it. They won't admit it. You'll have them come on. They'll say we're not their rivals. But right now, out of it, if you can call it a rivalry, because Man City are just above the rest. But the closest team to them, the biggest threat to them is us, in my opinion. Liverpool are there or thereabouts, but if Liverpool lose Van Dijk, I think they're well and truly out of it, or a midfielder. I think we're a bit more in a more comfortable position.
Now, let me ask you this, though. Let me ask you this. Do you think that Arsenal, how far do you think Arsenal can get in the Champions League? Because looking at it right now, I wouldn't be too surprised if Arsenal could go far in the Champions League, honestly. So what are your thoughts on that?
Listen, I'm not against the thought of thinking we could win it. To say that we can win it is wild.
It's a big
but
deal.
Once again, right? I say it like this: we don't know yet. The draw's not been done yet. Once the draw's done yet, people can come and ask the question. I'll give a more like solidified answer. But if we get on any side, if there's a side like the Inter Milan side last year that got them to the final, Arsenal can easily get to the final.
Right.
I don't fear. I'll be honest. The only teams I actually generally fear in this competition, and when I say fear, I feel like we could lose against, is Bayern Munich, Man City, and Real Madrid. I generally believe they are the only three teams that will be a big struggle for us. I think we can actually beat anyone else.
I mean, that's a wild take. I mean,
I watch apart from maybe another English side, because English sides, you know what it is when you play each other. But I looked at PSG yesterday against Newcastle, and I said they're not all that.
No, that's 100%.
Dortmund that have gone through ain't all that. Napoli, I don't think are all that. So listen, not to say it will be easy. I'm not to say we'll walk through Napoli or something, but I don't think that it will be a game where you're like, oh, Arsenal might not win this one. Like, I think you'll think Arsenal have a great chance of winning it. So if say Bayern, Real Madrid, and Man City are all on one side of the table, and Arsenal are on that other side of the table, I think Arsenal could get all the way to the final. And then in the final, in a one-off game, anything can happen. We've seen craziness happen in football. So the only team I really would not want in the final is Real Madrid, because I generally believe if you get Real Madrid in the final, you're not winning.
Which is great. It's crazy because actually yesterday I was on Mo's channel, and you know there's another guy named Mohamed Salah, and he was saying the City are favorites over Real Madrid, and man, I don't you can never, I don't think any team can say that at this point, because of how they have proven that this is their competition, and ultimately, you know, they could say they're the greatest of all time, because you know what I mean, they're just by the way they cook on this competition, whether they are the best or not, whether they're you know what I mean, they could be losing 5-0, you cannot count them out. But I mean, I do see Arsenal going forward. Maybe I could see up to a semifinal. And again, it's up. You know, it's like you said. This could be, you know, you go. It depends on who you meet, but ultimately, I wouldn't put it past them, to be honest. And to see like a Jorginho come in the 86th minute. I know Jorginho's gotten a lot of crap, but he's still, to me, a very, very good midfielder. And so it just speaks of a little bit of Arsenal's depth that you need in these to compete in all these tournaments. Of course, they're not in the Carabao Cup no more, but I mean, Jorginho is in the bench, having Declan Rice in the midfield, Havertz, of course, in Odegaard. Those are really, really good players, man. You know what I mean? So not most teams don't have these players, and we're going to talk about United, of course, and City later on. But listen, it surprised me how Arsenal had competed this Champions League. Just beating 6-0. It's a statement that most teams need to pay attention to. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, like that's it. Because the fact of the matter is, yeah, Arsenal one city, like people go, you've got a rubbish group. Yeah, we've topped it easily. Like, what more do you want us to do? We can't do more. Sorry that we ain't in Newcastle's group. Sorry, we ain't in that group. That's not our fault. Do you know what I mean? Like, we've got to beat what's in front of us. And not only that, we've gone and beat the team that beat us as well. This team beat us, and people laughed and that, and then we've gone and smoked them 6-0. And it was, and let's be honest, yeah, let's be honest. It was 6-0 because we wanted to rest in the second half. That's why it was 6-0, because we did not take it out of second gear in the second half. We chilled. We knew we could win. We knew we were gonna win. We made at halftime. We brought off both our attacking fullbacks, our more attacking fullbacks, and we brought on defensive fullbacks just because we knew we were just gonna shut up shop and just chill. Took Declan Rice off early. Took Saka off early. Took Jesus off. We could do all that and be calm. And still, when you made 5 changes to the team, 2 at the back, and in the midfield and everything, taking off Rice, we still never looked like we were going to concede. Maybe a little one at the end, you might have said was a half chance for them, but not really. You know, so I think that, yeah, Arsenal in this cooking this competition. I think, as you said, depend on the draw. I think we'll get out of the round of 16. I think whoever we get will beat.
Are you happy with this? Are you happy with this lineup? What would you add on to Arsenal at this point to compete for the Premier League and the Champions League?
Listen, January, this is another thing people want to forget. By the time we're playing the next round of games and stuff in the Champions League, there's going to have been a January transfer. Transfer window. You don't know who we bring in. You know,
who would you bring in though?
See, for me, I want an 8 and I want a striker, or I'm happy with. I'm actually not against getting a 6/8 sort of player and having Rice as the 8. Like Douglas Luiz for me is, I'll take him. I'll take him 100%. I think he's quality. I think he's something we need in midfield. It will allow Rice to go into the 8, and I think he'll be more creative. Then you have options, you know, and a striker, a striker for me. You bring in the right guy, you can win anything, bruv. You know, like for me,
who would be your target though? Because I mean, you got to have a clear target on who you can bring.
It all depends on how much Arsenal are willing to spend, and that's why I'm not sure about Arsenal.
But what are we talking about here, man? Because listen, you trying to win, or you trying to be chilling like you've been chilling for the past 20 years?
Well, listen, if Arsenal wanted to go, if Arsenal said, let's try and win the Champions League and the Premier League this season, in January, they'd pull their finger out, spend as much as possible, and they'd get an Osimhen and a Douglas Luiz, and then we'd be able to win. I generally believe if we were to bring in Osimhen and Douglas Luiz, we could win them both. I generally believe that it'd be possible for us to win. I think
Osimhen is a legitimate target. I mean, people have been saying he's not coming. How the hell do you know that? You know, he's not coming to Arsenal. How do you know that? You know what I mean? Like, you cannot underestimate. Arsenal is a big club in the world. You cannot underestimate.
This is the thing. There's this. It's once again the Arsenal hate the hope. Yeah, it's that they hope that they won't come to us. Yeah, people were saying that Declan Rice wouldn't come to Arsenal. He come to Arsenal. You know, at the end of the day, we can sign any player. The only teams that I generally believe that if they come for a certain player will get him over us is Man City and Real Madrid. I don't think there's any other team that currently are more attractive than Arsenal. I'm being generally honest. Sometimes, like we got Rice over Man City. I do believe that was down to groundwork and that we'd been talking to Rice for a long time and we'd sold him on Arsenal and he was completely sold on Arsenal, and Man City probably couldn't guarantee him the guarantees that Arsenal have guaranteed him. But still, to be able to even say, like, I'm sorry, if it was Spurs that were close to getting Declan Rice, yeah, and Man City went in, he's gone to Man City. 100 million %. So Arsenal have a bit of pull. We've always had a bit of pull. It's Arsenal Football Club. Let's be real. So to say we can't get Osimhen, I think it's wild. I don't think there's a team out there that would go for him that would be that much more appealing to him. It's just if Arsenal Football Club themselves will spend the money. That's if we cough up the money that Napoli asked for, we get Osimhen. That's how I generally believe that. I don't think there's Man City don't need a striker. Real Madrid wouldn't, I don't think, will go for him. So therefore, I believe we cough up the money, we get him. So, but I just don't think that's a January move.
Okay.
I don't think because Napoli still in the Champions League and that, are they going to sell their star striker to another team
Yeah, that
in
would be tough.
January?
That would be
It's tough,
definitely tough.
and Napoli ain't easy to work like make deals with. So for
Oh
me,
no, their ball, their president is a freaking looks like a damn mafia dude. You know what I mean? He's not ready to sell. Now I want to welcome Kevin Ritchie, of course, Manchester United fan, and of course the fraud of them all, Hamza, rocking a Brazilian shirt as if he actually watches Brazil. Nah, I'm playing. He's just chilling, or are they not chilling over there? Matches the City fans. You know, are you struggling? Are you not struggling? We're gonna talk about that. Give me a second, Hamza. Don't go nuts over City because I know City fans look at everybody with a grin on their face with disgust because they think we're below them. It's okay. It's all good. What are your okay? I guess we can welcome Hamza, man. Hamza killing it in spaces, showing up late to the damn job.
I was
Uh,
eating. I was eating.
Hamza, what are your thoughts on Arsenal, man? You got to give them your respects, bro. 6-0 against Lens, but still 6-0, bro.
Yeah,
Respect,
they were good. They were good. I didn't watch that game, man. They're good. Thing is, they're good. They did well, but I'm very critical because my expectation is higher. Like I'm looking at
Just like
like
just to interrupt you for there, like people
yeah,
need to understand Lens's defensive shape today
yeah,
looked like they were an MLS team or a Sunday League team. Like
bro.
there's like look, I understand Arsenal is a very talented team and how they were able to pick apart and the fullbacks Zinchenko and like your attacking fullbacks. I'm not fully sure. GP, who was your fullbacks today? I couldn't watch most
it
of the
was
game.
it was Tomiyasu and Zinchenko started, and
Okay,
then
yeah,
at
all
half
right, yeah.
time
So
we changed them.
I just wanted to make sure Zinchenko was starting. But yeah, so Zinchenko and Tomiyasu, they had a field day out there. They were playing on the halfway line like the entire game until they were brought out. Like it just the commentators here in America were literally saying are they facing a MLS team or a Sunday League team because when that ball came to the back post, they were staring at the ball, not the players. It's just like they had a field day, they had a great game, but like this is not the performance we can say like, wow, Arsenal is a talented team. Like this is we all knew they were.
Bro,
They
6
went
0 though. They
no
actually
they
they
but they
got beat
went out there and showed
away.
their talent. But this is not like I was on my way home and I heard what you said, GP. Like I'm not taking anything from this game. Like I'm not taking any bad things from this game. But what I'm saying from what I saw from this game that I was able to see is Arsenal's a talented team. They faced a very underwhelming Lens team that aren't that good in France, and they had a field day, and they just take this with confidence. This isn't a game where you say, "Oh my God, this player is really good." Yes, Kai Havertz scored again. He should start on the weekend, but it's not something you can take this and say, "All right, let's build off this." This is just showing how good Arsenal is.
Yeah, listen, just to put in there, I guess I agree with some of what you said. For me, the fact is you beat a team 6-0 in the Champions League. It is what it is. They're Lons. They're not great. I'm not going to go, oh my God, we
Yeah.
smashed it. Like, I'm not going to be going on about it for a week. But at the end of the day, when you're winning 5-0 at the end of the first half, and in the second half, you could
Just
just
shut off. Yeah.
pass the ball away round and just play around and get your sixth goal and just end the game. And six different goal scorers. That's the big one for me. 6 different guys scoring goals. Yeah, which is what we need to see from our team, not having a striker like that. Listen, yes, Lons weren't great defensively, but when I watched the Man United game, neither was Galatasaray. And Man United didn't put their chances away. And that's
Man,
the
we're gonna talk
difference
about
between
that.
the team. That's the difference between the team that can get the job done in the Champions League and the team that can't. And all due respect to Man United, like right
Dude,
now, like
I understand. I understand.
And we
yeah.
look,
So
let's
yeah,
that
listen.
it was a really good performance by Arsenal, and I think if they put their head in the game, they can go far in this competition. We'll see what happens. But let's transition
I was
into.
gonna say quickly about that.
Go ahead, bro.
I think they had an easy group. I think Sevilla 15th
Oh,
in
yeah,
La
yeah.
Liga. Lons are 6th or 7th in French league. That league was a Europa League group. That's an easy group. Like Arsenal will go to the quarters, I think, and heartbreak's gonna happen there. They're not good enough to beat Bayern. They're not good enough to beat Real Madrid. Inter Milan can hurt them badly, and Atletico Madrid, dirty football. Like they will be there just to kick people. and they'll frustrate them. And Arsenal are not smart enough to get that over the line, because if you miss chance against Atletico Madrid, they're a very dangerous side. They'll kick you, they'll frustrate you, and they'll just be physical towards you. And the players, if they make in the second leg, they will continue. They're just a physical team. So there's a couple of teams there that Arsenal should watch out for. They're a good team. They're top 5 teams, I think, in Europe. They're showing that they've got their standards. Loans are not that good. No one rates loans. No one knows any loans players. To the fact that they're 6th or 7th in French league tells you, oh, like, who cares about anyone below 3rd in French league? Who knows about the teams? Who cares? Like, they're 7th. Like, beating them even 8-0, 9-0 doesn't make a difference, because it's just a not a league.
So let me ask you though, Hamza, why is there a difference between Arsenal Champions League and Arsenal Premier League? Why is it that we don't really talk about Arsenal like they can win they can beat City and win the title, and when it comes to Champions League, they seem to be, doing well.
They haven't got they haven't got the players to do it. I'm sorry to say that. Like, there's certain players there that are not intellectually smart for the Champions League. I'll tell you that. Zinchenko's not, Jesus is not. These guys have had them. I remember I told everyone, I said to City fans 3 years ago, I said, the day we get rid of these 5 players, Zinchenko, Jesus, I didn't say Cancelo, I said Sterling. I said, these guys are missing big chances in big games. I need killers up front. One chance, bang, go. And that's what we had. When we were rocking at Real Madrid, Robs was on us. We're 1-0 down, bang, go. We take it head-to-head. We smash them. They're out of the game. We do that to the Bayern Munich. We go to Bayern Allianz Arena. It's a very tough place to go. We batter them, home and away. And that tells me already about, Arsenal. You can't play tiki-taka. You have to be smart ballers. Those players like Tomiyasu, Zinchenko, and
but that's the only thing there.
They'll get hurt.
That's the only thing with, like, we have to see come a few months from now. Exactly what you were saying, GP, in the quarters, when you're saying you could maybe, if you have a good draw, depending on when round of 16 hits, it all depends. If you get an easy side, you can run, but it depends on how Arteta, if he's stubborn or not stubborn. Because we all know Arteta and Pep are 2 very, very stubborn managers. They don't like to change. They like to say, hey, look, if you're going to come at me, I'm going to try and change my mind very, very slightly, but I know you're going to try and counter my way of playing. If Arteta doesn't play, if he wants to play his style of football all through the Champions League, you're going to have a heartbreak. If he wants to somehow change more than just a tiny bit, there could be a very good run. But again, it all depends on what really happens on what the draw is as well.
All right. We can transition into one of the biggest letdowns and bottles of the history of
all right, peace out. Nice
professional football. And I mean, what in the actual hell? I didn't meet you guys then, so I've been saying, so this is kind of convenient for me, but I've been saying since Onana came on that, to me, he doesn't impress me. He didn't impress me at Inter Milan. The mere fact that you bring him in because he plays with his feet, that's freaking nonsense. You need a goalkeeper to play with his hands first, and to be able to do a good job at that, really good job at that, and then you can look at his feet as a compliment, as an accessory to his game as a goalkeeper, and then you bring him on. So this is an unnecessary problem that Ten Hag brought, because De Gea was doing his job. He wasn't the greatest goalkeeper of all time, and he wasn't this. So he was just doing his job. No problem needed. You could have fixed other areas in Manchester United. And then he comes on. You put him in the preseason. Nobody talks about this anymore. And he comes on thinking he's the king of football. Starts yelling at Maguire because he knows he's an easy target. I said it at the time as well. And then yells at him in front of everybody in the preseason, in front of everybody in the United States of America and the UK and everywhere else in the world. Maguire, a gentleman. You have to admit he is a gentleman when it comes to critics and everything. He doesn't do anything about it. So, and then you strip Maguire from the captaincy. You don't need 3 things right there that you didn't need to do. Nobody asked you to do it. It was unnecessary, and you brought these on yourself. And now, last week, Onana was being praised all over Twitter for being the shot stopper and the number 1 this and the number 1 that. Kevin here on Monday came on talking about Onana is one of the best goalkeepers in the Premier League. Yes, you did, Kevin.
Oh, I
And
know I did. Yeah.
and now
I rated him.
how is this how can a Premier League goalkeeper for Manchester United do what he did today?
Look,
Unbelievable.
the before, to quote Sunshine on Twitter, if you guys know him, he said before we signed Onana, before the Here We Go he said we have bigger problems in this club than replacing De Gea to bring in a keeper that can play with his feet. And I questioned him, and I said, yeah, maybe, but De Gea has a mistake in 2 games out of 3. But today, this I don't have words. But no, like today, this was just unbelievable. He better like this when, and Chris, I said this all the time. Form. He's a manager on form. He does partnership and form. If Onana starts on the weekend, it's when something has to change, because this just isn't this form. Yes, cool. He's had great games, but this right here, he has costed us every Champions League game so far. Every knockout game that we're supposed to try and win and had a chance to win, that Onana has had a part into play of losing the game. So the first one, you put your wall, you organize the wall, you're the keeper, your wall is what you organize. You dove before the ball even was released off Ziyech's foot. The second was just another mistake, and then the third goal was just a worldie, and you can't save that. But he was a little bit out of position. But like the third goal was the only goal I can say, all right, really good run. Kobe Mino had great man marking, and then it was close near post. But I don't have much to say on the game. Like all we had to do when we were 3-1 up is keep Amrabat on with a yellow and put Mino next to him and take Scott off and just hold 2 6s and play a double pivot. And what does he do? He takes Amrabat off and he let the game open up again. And we're away at Turkey. It would have been one of our best nights ever in Turkey away, because we've never won there. The only good result we've gotten there is just 2 points, because we got 2 no draws there. And to do that, it just something. Now it's been time, and I've finished my work day here in the States. But dude, I was fuming. I got on a work call and I just turned my camera off right after the final whistle, and my boss said, "What's wrong?" I said, "I don't want to talk about it." So, dude, it's like, look,
Incredible.
every rival, like GP and Hamza, what did you think when you were watching that game? Obviously, I know Hamza, you're just gonna laugh in my face, but what did you actually think what was happening?
Well, for me, I watched the whole game actually. So
Yeah,
I didn't watch the first 20 minutes. But listen,
you turned around when you're 2-0 up? Nice. Yeah.
2-0 to Man United, and they've somehow drawn it 3-3. They're not made for the Champions League at the moment, in my opinion. And I said to my mate, he's a Man United fan, I was watching it with him. I said, your best bet's to just go out. Just bottle that last game, just lose the last game, go out of Europe and try and get top 4 in the league or something, because Europe ain't for you right now. Like not even to disrespect Man United. Listen, we know Man United's if not the biggest club in world football, but at the end of the day, they're a show of themselves right now. Like, I watched that game today, and it's like a goalie's a guy that's meant to keep you in a game. The goalie lost you the Champions League, mate. The champion, that second goal is the reason they get the third goal. You know, you're 3-1
Why didn't he
up.
catch it? Why didn't he try and catch? He just.
I watched the keeper try and punch out a low free kick. He's trying to punch it away. What is he doing? It just looks so bad, and it's the thing of when you do that. When your team's 3-1 up, you give that other team all the confidence that your team has just received. You give it all to the other team, and your team loses it all. And now they start thinking, "Oh crap! If we concede another one, we're not going to really get through this Champions League group," you know. But you've given.
You want to hear a funny stat?
Go on.
Every time we've scored a goal, we've conceded within 10 minutes of every single game we played, other than keeping a clean sheet.
That's
the only time we don't do is if we keep a clean sheet in a game. So every time we score in any type of game that we played, we concede a goal within 10 minutes of scoring in any game unless we kept a clean sheet.
Yeah, I've been watching Onana this season, and I think he has a concentration issue. Like, I generally think he has a concentration issue, and I see it in the game against Arsenal. Right, he's there celebrating, and then we score literally seconds after you've scored, and then he's there telling everyone calm down. And it's like, brother, like maybe it weren't his fault for the goal against Arsenal, but at the
No,
same
that was-
time,
that
you're
was
the keeper,
definitely
and at the same time, the keeper's meant to give the defense confidence, and the defense are meant to give the keeper confidence. Right now, neither of them give either of them confidence. Like, yeah, today I was like, you had the chances. I thought Palestri, when he come on, had a shocker. I think he tried to be the star boy. He saw Garnacho's moment on the weekend and thought he needs a bit of that because he was making some shocking decisions in the final third.
Since the 55th minute, I say that. I literally have a note of
what let me give the word to Hamza, man, because I want him to cook. You know, it's time to eat, man. And he's awful quiet thinking.
Yeah. I think, the thing is, it's so shameful and disgraceful to be calling yourself the biggest club in this country and to bottom of the group with Copenhagen and Galatasaray. Seriously, like, it's a disgrace. Like, it's shameful. It's beyond shameful. Like to call yourself the biggest club in the country, and this is a joke. Copenhagen, they're nobodies. Who's Copenhagen to me? Like, we beat these guys.
the winner of the Dutch league every year, basically. Well, that's about
Yeah,
it.
yeah.
The Dutch league, no.
But the Danish champions, but they're not that
Danish,
great.
sorry.
Yeah, Galatasaray. Yeah, how can you go? And then the way the Galatasaray, they were 3-1 down. They were 3-1 up to Galatasaray. Galatasaray were 3-1 down to United, and they just gave the audacity of winning that game. United fans told us, like, Onana was De Gea was the problem. He's the reason why they're getting rid of. Once they get rid of De Gea, things are gonna change. They're gonna get this keeper called Onana, and this guy's gonna pass the ball from the back, and he's gonna show everyone why United need this guy. And I was thinking, this is so shameful. Like, a keeper like this. Like, have you seen how he's been having howlers? One thing he does, I've realized, he often, if you're one-on-one on him, he often goes down before even you shoot. He goes down, he commits.
Oh yeah.
I'm thinking, why are you going down?
His like one-on-one or close, like within the 6, or like if you're like 10 yards out anywhere on the goal, doesn't matter if you're like close on the left side, close on the right side, close down the middle. He's going down before you even like try and shoot, and it's like he's guessing.
Right.
But it's like, dude,
No, but on that,
I've never
I
been
think
a keeper. I
think it was on the second goal.
Right. Absolutely, he commits. He just goes down. Like, he doesn't. He goes down immediately without even thinking. Like, I'm thinking, why are you going down already? And the funny thing is he's cost United big games, and he was lucky against Wolves when he should have.
When he should have got the penalty in the first game. Yeah.
Like, you see them constantly, and you're thinking, oh my God, you're making these huge errors, and now it's a joke that they're gonna finish bottom. Probably lucky, like they might finish bottom of the group, and I think that's more of a disgrace because David Moyes never finished bottom of the group. Louis van Gaal's never done that. Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's never done that. This manager has broken United records massively. They lost to the rivals 7-0. They've scored most. They've conceded 14 goals. No one in the Premier League or as a representative of the Premier League has ever, or in the Champions League has ever conceded 17. 14.
Hamza, wait, before you say the stat, we have the third most goals in the competition. We have the third most goals in the competition at the end of today. We're bottom of our group with 3 points.
What joke?
With 1 win. When does it stop?
Okay, so looking at it from the there's no positives. Come on, let's be honest. But like, can they actually make it? Another 5. Galatasaray's 5 points. United's got 4 points. So if they win,
they have to draw, and we have to beat Bayern.
Who? Oh, hell no!
And we have to beat Bayern at we're at Old Trafford. We have to win, and
who's going?
Now it's not even going to be a chance. If Bayern like spanked Copenhagen today, I would have thought, like, all right, cool. They're going to put a C team out there. We can try and get points and just build something, and just like let the boys go out, let the youth have fun and maybe try and win against the C team. But now they did a 0-0 draw since 2008. It's
But
the
the
first
fact
time
that
not scoring.
listen though, but look at it from this perspective. Hamza's not gonna agree with this.
Mm.
But if they tied with Copenhagen, there's a chance for United. You can beat them.
Oh wait,
Crickets.
sorry.
Crickets.
But no, it's
No,
bro.
Man
I
United
don't
can't.
want Europa League. I don't want anything. We just
Yeah, no,
like,
I know, but
crash out. Like send like the U19 team, like, and just let them play and just give the tickets all to Bayern and just let Old Trafford rot. Just let us sell like 20,000, put 40,000 empty seats, and give Bayern 20,000 as well, or 15,000, and just let it rot. Like this competition's over for us. I texted all my friends today and said, "Hey, look, ONANA costed us the Champions League group stage, and we're out. Have fun." Like,
damn.
And-
So go ahead.
and
Go
it's
ahead.
not like in terms of like the way to finish Manchester United to finish bottom of the group. I think I blame you on Ten Hag, the manager. I think this
Yeah.
manager, he's fought with players. He's the biggest problem at United first now.
Yeah.
I think he's lucky
I
to
don't
be.
agree with that.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't agree with that.
besides the owners, man, but you got
I think the manager is a problem. He comes there, he fights with players. No need to do that. He fights with
Yeah.
Ronaldo. He fights with Maguire.
yep.
He fights with McTominay. He thinks he's got the ego when he hasn't won anything.
Yeah, bro.
He fights
Yes.
with Sancho. He fights with Sancho. He now Rashford doesn't want to play. He can't drop Rashford. He's scared. He knows he's lost. Basically, his job is being kept intact to the players. They've got tough games to go. Chelsea have just been rocked by Newcastle. They're about to face
Yeah,
Chelsea.
we have them on the weekend.
Yeah, and then
You
after
got
that,
Newcastle first.
yeah, after that they go Newcastle. Is it?
Now they got
So-
Newcastle, then Chelsea.
Ooh,
Yeah.
This week in Newcastle.
Yeah, Newcastle away. Newcastle away. They got
Bro,
Newcastle.
The only thing I can say with Ten Hag is I'm not out yet.
You're not out.
And guess what? Guess what? They got
look,
Newcastle, then Chelsea, then they survive on Saturday to Bournemouth, then they have to play Bayern, and then Liverpool away, then West Ham away, then Aston Villa.
Oh man, that's murder.
The reason why I say I'm not out is because the job he was given was way too much for him with no assistance out off the field. Because before I maybe say that, the last coach we had was LVG. That was the last coach we've had in this club. Ten Hag at Ajax was like the almost Fergie. He almost tried to run everything there. And then they came here and they gave him that power. All the power was useless because he's tried to make too many decisions. Everything's going wrong. All I want him to do is just get stripped of all the power and focus on the field. And then let him have that. He's not given that yet. He's not been able to do just focus on the field. He has all this other issue on the field. And yes, I'm not saying it's issues. I'm not saying it's excuses. But I want him to say, look, if you don't agree with this, all I want, I've said this to Chris multiple times, I want us to play the same type of football from U8 to the starting 11. And until that's when I will get behind the actual people that want to be here. If he doesn't agree with people without playing, yes, Varane has made mistakes over and over again. He has no right to be in the starting 11. Yes, he's won 5 Champions League, but guess what? He costed us 2 games. He costed us last Champions League game too. Like, there's no – you have to be – you can't just think of the work. You just can't think of the bads and only no goods. Like,
bro, he ain't got no good.
Listen, just to put in the opinion quick, that like I'm gonna be biased. I'm gonna be biased for this one here. Yeah, I am so happy this is happening to Manchester United because I think Manchester United. Listen, no, even that. Forget all that. Forget all the past of like 10 years plus ago, or whatever, 20 years, 30 years ago. I'm talking about the fact is, Man United had this mad audacity last season, like Ten Hag was the second coming of Christ. Yeah, like I don't get it. Like I was telling my mates last season. No, honestly, I was telling my mates last season, Ten Hag's a fraud. Yeah, because your away record was shambolic. Yeah, you had your biggest loss ever to your rival 7-0. That's an embarrassment. Yeah. At the end of the day, I just thought the signings he brought in were trash. I don't think I can't.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
Name me a signing he's brought in that's been like a proper quality signing.
100 million on Anthony, bro.
So
Come on,
this
man.
audacity, and then you hear United fans that come out before the season, putting themselves second, putting themselves first in the league, putting Arsenal seventh in the league before the season starts, putting Arsenal sixth in the league. The audacity of Man United fans after not a great season, living off that Carabao Cup, living off that, like Man City didn't just go and win it 4 times in a row, easy, yeah, walking through the cup and winning it. Man United win it now, all of a sudden it means something. But when Man City won it for 4 seasons in a row, it's the Carabao Cup. This was what Man United fans were saying. So they were clutching onto that, and it just papered over cracks. Yeah, listen, we all want to win a trophy. A trophy is a nice accomplishment at the end of the season. It made your season look 10 times better than it was. But then you want to forget you also almost bottled the top 4 towards the end of the season, when at one point you were talking like you were in the title race, not you personally. But
nah, it's like, look, I can understand what you're saying. The only thing I could say of last year is I thought it was a building block of then trying to then put everyone else on whoever we're going to sign. And like what I was saying earlier, you can't have a manager pick every signing. You need someone behind you to reasoning why the signings are going to work. And we didn't have that. Ten Hag said, I want these players. And the board said, okay, cool, because you have the power. We're doing it. And that's why I said you need to be stripped of it and just focus on the field. But no, it was a building block, and the building block is the cement and the mortar is now crumbling. And look, we need to see what happens in January. And then really, I'm giving it, like, right now. I can tell you this right now, Chris. March is when I'll see, like, if he's able to have the balls of. And Hamza said it. I don't care if he's falling out with players. Look, there's player power in this club for years and years and years, and he needs to go. So yeah, if he doesn't want him, get him out. Obviously, everyone has favorites. Everyone thinks Martial FC, Bruno FC, blah, blah, blah. Look, if he wants to get him out, get him out. And we'll see when it comes March where we're at. I don't want to be in the Champions League anymore. We need to bottle it and go. And
I was gonna say, Kevin, quickly. I think this manager's cost you big time. Like
in regards to what?
And he's cost you big. Like, he's the big. Like, at least people are costing people like Moyes and all that. And the only thing this Ten Hag's done, oh yeah, he gave us top 4. Where did top 4 land you? Champions League bottom of the group, nothing. What did Carling Cup land you? Nothing. Like, other managers like Mourinho did better than this. This guy, I think, is a calamity. You can see tactically he's poor, he's inept. Now he's depending on those players they used to cuss. He's now depending on Maguire, McTominay to take him out of the mud.
Exactly. And you take your captaincy away, and he's supposed to save you now.
Have principles. If you didn't rate them, don't play them.
No doubt.
So that's what I'm saying. But look, the issue is you also need
his
to make sure
talent ID is bad.
I'm agreeing to everything, but also I'm not going to go in too much detail because I do have to run soon. But my thing is, what I'm saying is the people he brought in, he just said, look, I rate them of styles that I was playing in different leagues. This is the Premier League. This is one of the hardest leagues in the world to play against teams. You can't just think, oh, because I'm doing it Ajax in the Eredivisie, I'm going to bring these players to the Prem and think I'm just going to run at wingers and try and work. It's not going to work that way. You need to have tacticians around to say, look, this player, Anthony, you're going to buy in. You're going to bring him in and play this style of football and understand how it's going to work against like Trippier when he played Newcastle. You have to do this. And they just didn't. And they just gave him the power. He said, here's the check, do it. And that's what I said. That needs to be stripped from him. And then we'll see. Come January, when we have hopefully Sir Jim in and a new director of football and a new CEO, and then they try and make football decisions, then we'll actually decide what's going to happen. If that doesn't happen, then it's another shit show of a transfer window.
But you can't blame the Blazers no more.
Listen, I thought Ten Hag was an all right coach, an all right manager. Then he made Bruno Fernandes captain of your football club, and I knew he wasn't good.
And
I knew he hasn't got.
You don't rate Bruno, huh?
No, he's not, bro. He's not a captain, though.
He's not a captain. He's the worst guy you can make a captain, and it shows on the pitch from the manager to the captain why you're spineless. Yep. I'll be real, and that's right. And I was talking from Arsenal that's seen that over the last 4 or 5 years. I've seen that spineless in my own team,
I can agree.
I'm telling you, Man United are now spineless.
So let's try to talk a little bit. We're towards the end. Let's start talking about Newcastle and then City. Let's start with Newcastle, man. Newcastle, boy, I was on in the beginning of Hamza's space thing yesterday, and I was ranting. They wouldn't let me finish. That's why I hate about Spaces, because you got 1,000 people talking at one time. But I did get my point across. I just, to be honest with you, I don't think I've seen a performance by an English club away against a type of team like this with stars. And Mbappe is a star, even though he is, to me, not what people think he is. He's not a Ballon d'Or to me at this point. We'll see what he does with his career. You know, playing PSG, I don't think he'll ever win it. But regardless, it was a tough matchup away, and most people, nobody thought Newcastle was going to win this one, and we had it, and we were robbed at the end. A lot of controversy with Arsenal fans all over Twitter, and even in the space thing, so an Arsenal fan came at me because why didn't you have the same energy? So I ranted. It's on the channel. I'm gonna have Hamza have his talk and have you say, and then of course, Giuseppe, do you have to go right now?
I've got to go in a few minutes.
Okay, well, go ahead, Giuseppe. Let me hear you what you got to say about that, and then Hamza, of course.
Yeah, listen. First of all, I'm gonna leave the thing for a minute, the penalty decision. But for me, listen, Newcastle played decent. Newcastle played all right. You did have 31 shots against you, which isn't great.
But seven on target.
Listen, you yesterday I thought PSG weren't that great. I thought they didn't look convincing. Yes, that might be because the way you play, but I just think they didn't have no clinical edge. I think your keeper saved you many times. Like, he made some saves that I was like, Jesus.
True.
I was like, wow.
But
so
that's
like
his
that
job
ain't gonna
now.
happen every game. Like, but listen, fair play to Newcastle. You've done enough to win the game in the end, but then the decision goes against you, and the penalty's never a penalty. Literally, there was a similar one that actually happened in the Arsenal game. Kai Havertz off his knee on his arm, didn't get given, but that's the right call.
Yeah.
I thought it was harsh. I thought it was very harsh. I think if it ain't PSG, I think if that happens against a Copenhagen or something, that penalty don't get given. But at the same time, what I will say is, it's a sour taste in the mouth. And at the end of the day, this is why when stuff happens against your with other teams, people shouldn't really say much, because then it bites them in the arse. And I'm not saying that you can't cry about the result, but the same fans that told us, listen, what happens with the ref, it is what it is. You've got to live with it. You've got to get on with it. You've got to move on with it. So did Newcastle now. And the fact of the matter is, your manager come out and slated our manager and basically threw shade on our manager for calling out the refs, and now he's found himself in a predicament. Yeah, well, he didn't so much say like Arteta, but he goes straight after the game, he's saying how we've got to respect officials and their decisions and that. But then listen, you got to hold that energy. That's the only thing, you got to hold the energy.
He didn't complain or rant the same as Arteta did. Now Arteta went at the
because he knew he couldn't. Because at the end of the day, he was fuming, because if they now go out of the Champions League next game and you get knocked out of the Champions League, that is the reason you've been knocked out of the Champions League, was that penalty decision. And it's not right. And this is the problem with with football. It's not right that these decisions happen and stuff. But I feel a bit sorry for Newcastle. I'm not gonna lie. There was a sweet feeling in my mouth, like, to see that, just because I felt like we did get robbed by you lot, not by you lot, but by the refs against you lot. And a lot of Newcastle fans laughed about it and said, ha ha, this and that. It is what it is. So, but listen, I'm going to keep the same energy as I said. I'm not going to go out and say that, like, you shouldn't be pissed off about that. 100%, that was a robbery. And and it's disgraceful. And the refs need to sort that out, because it ruins the competition at the end of the day. Because now you're going to go out and PSG are going to go through, and they don't really deserve to go through the Champions League group, in my opinion. So yeah, man, that's my thoughts on it.
My main thing before I run, like, so today, sorry, my chair is acting all funny. Today, when Kai Havertz's penalty wasn't given, why are they not using previous evidence of what they're using? So, like, when the VAR room looks over that, right, and they see this, and commentators said, like, well, it's identical to yesterday's game. Why are they not using that and keeping consistency, and then just making these rash calls and not making the right ones? What do you guys agree with that?
I don't know what the hell they're doing. I think they're ruining the game.
Like, it just doesn't make, like the Kai GP, exactly what you said. Like, the Kai Havertz penalty today was mostly identical. He was running, he jumped, his knee lifted, and it hit the knee, and it hit his arm, and then they didn't give a penalty. Livramento was sprinting at the ball, and it hit his chest, and then hit his arm, and they gave a penalty. It just doesn't. It just what's the difference?
There's no difference. The only thing I will say is it wouldn't be fair to give that penalty because they gave the Newcastle one. Because at the end of the day, in my opinion, the Newcastle was a fuck up, and it was
I
a
know,
bad
but
call.
then there's no
So,
consistency, and then what do
but
you do then? So is that,
well,
is that a good call or a bad
is,
call?
last week was a bad call. This one was a good. Last night was a
Yeah.
bad call. This one was the correct call that should have been given last night. It's not the same ref. So these refs are like, we ain't gonna give that. We would never give that. They wouldn't have given that if they were in the
Yeah.
Newcastle game. You know that's
I
how I
agree.
see it.
No,
But
I
like
agree.
you're right with the consistency. Now, next time they've got to look at the Arsenal one. From now, forget the Newcastle
Yeah,
one.
exactly.
From now,
So-
they've got to look at the Arsenal one, and then whenever that exact thing happens, it's got to not be a penalty. Simple as that.
Okay, so Hamza, what do you think about this shameful performance by the referee?
I think Newcastle deserved to win the game, man. It's so unfair. On the basis that was just a poor man. I think PSG were knocking. They had chances, yeah, but it's just as soon as they get told to go and look at the screen, I don't know why they always just give the penalty. They don't just. I looked at it. I thought, hold on, okay, it's body to hand. What the hell, body to arm like that? That's not penalty. But I think the pressure that he's been under already by the VAR official, I think he's already just going there pretending that he's looking at it. Most of the time, they're giving the penalty, and that's the annoying thing. Like, surely you can look at it, and you're getting to look at it over and
Yeah,
over.
GP.
You're getting to look at it over and over again, and you don't still change your mind. When it was no way a penalty, no way. Newcastle were cheated. They should have gone to the Paris and should have got a 3 point. But it's so sad. But the good thing
Yeah,
is
man.
Newcastle have got a game at home, which I believe they'll win. And let's see the rest of the next game.
All right, let's start talking about City. I don't know if Kevin can say or not, but regardless, we gotta
I do
talk
have to
about.
run, but yes, I will try and jump on later if anything. But talk soon.
All right, bro. Have a good
Bye.
one. Have a good one. So let's talk
Yeah.
about City to finish this off, bro. I almost feel a lot of people yesterday. I was on Mo's channel, and we were just. It seemed like we were trying to find a problem, and certainly, 2-0 down, there is something to look at. But I feel like City almost toys around with their food. You know what I'm saying?
Mm.
What do you think, bro?
I think we were amazing. I think the first half I was shocked. I came back, I saw 2-0. I was like, oh my god, I got caught up to work. And I think Openda, the goal he scored were good goals. But because he scored against City, his value's gone up now. That guy. To give away. You see when Ruben Diaz got turned like that, I'm so glad it's happening now because Pep will not allow this later on. He's gonna have a word with Ruben Diaz. You don't get tight. You don't do that. You don't get turned like that. Because I remember last time we got turned, it was Vinicius that turned Fernandinho, and he runs and just go. I saw as soon as he turned him, Pep just did that. He looked away. He thought,
You think
forget.
you don't think he's gonna get many minutes later? I mean, he subbed him. That's
Off just to tell him you're not bigger than anyone else, and I'll put you in the bench if
Yeah.
your performance continue like this. But listen, the way we came back there, Grealish was poor. We swapped Doku again. He changed the game. Doku and
So
Alvarez.
let me ask you this though, because Alvarez won the game. Let's be honest with you.
Mm.
But he comes on at what, the 70th or what? What was it? What minute did he come on?
70th.
But at the end of the day, you got Alvarez saves you the game. He's not a starter. Then you got Doku, who's been killing the Premier League this season.
Mm.
Why? Number one, why is Doku not playing over Grealish? Why not?
I think his Pep wants to rotate them. Pep
Bro,
wants to rotate both of them. Pep wants to keep them fit. We can't keep playing Doku, young guy, constantly because if he gets injured, then we're left with one winger. So Pep needs to rotate them. One day this, one day Grealish. Grealish would have started if it was a bigger game because Doku doesn't track back.
yeah,
And
that
it
is
gives
true.
Doku that energy to come on and to run on players when they're tired. That's a brilliant one.
And
So I think he wanted Grealish to try Grealish. He normally plays well, but he didn't. But it shows you that we got plan B. Once
oh, no
Kevin De
doubt, yeah.
Bruyne comes back, once
Well,
the likes of thing
but
comes back, then we're absolutely like we will have a rotational squad to have.
but the
But the
thing,
only problem, yeah, go on.
bro, Kevin De Bruyne comes back, then you gotta then the Alvarez is not gonna play enough. Then more than likely a lot of
Mm.
these players are not gonna, have a lot of playing time. And that's
But
what you
so
gotta keep all these guys happy, bro. That's a
yeah, no, but Kevin De Bruyne, we're not gonna rush him to play every single game. Kevin De Bruyne is gonna be rested for the big games,
that
for
is
the
true.
huge game. So he'll play Alvarez against the Premier League team, taking off and get KDB to come in there to slaughter them. And then he'll play in the Champions League in the quarterfinals. He'll play KDB. He might drop forward in today for Alvarez, but he's got a bench squad of an amazing team. That if he rotates them, they're all fit. The players don't mind because Alvarez had already his minutes so far. And
Yeah.
as soon as Kevin De Bruyne comes back and he gets rotated, he'll be happy to get medals, to more Premier League medal. Even if to win a Premier League and a Champions League, that'll be a great achievement to do it back to back for Alvarez. He
Another one
doesn't.
that
Yeah,
another one that was great. Ake, man. Ake's been on fire. These,
he's been
you know
he's
what I'm
been
saying?
very good. He was very good. He's been very
But
good,
see,
and he shows you how solid he is, and that's why I trust Vardio will be better. You see, Vardio will be better, will be a better player because
yeah,
Vardio has got the talent. He's only 21, and the way that he does play, with the arrogance, the way he played that ball to Foden, and Foden's finish was amazing. So
yeah,
I can see. I think that to me, January is an important month. I want to see whether City are going to recruit because I believe we should recruit. I believe we're seeing certain players not fully fit. Kovacic is not fully fit in the whole season. He's already been out for 3 episodes already until now, November. So we recruited a player from Chelsea who was injury prone, and I think City are gonna think, okay, we're not gonna accept this anymore. He can go on the bench, or we can have an elite number 8, like
yeah.
Paqueta or something. But the question is whether we'll recruit in this in January.
All right. Well, we're gonna finish this stream, man. We had to review the Premier League, the Champions League with the Premier League teams, of course. I appreciate everybody coming on. Please consider subscribing, hit the bell for notifications. That way you don't miss out on any more shows. We're gonna have a show tomorrow as well. So shout out, we're gonna preview the Premier League. A lot of good matches this weekend. So appreciate you, Hamza. Appreciate Kevin. Appreciate Giuseppe coming on the show. I appreciate everybody. So don't forget to subscribe, and we'll see you on the next one.